A very noble cause where Africa becomes one tourist destination. Behind this important forum that was held here, bringing the representatives of the different African countries to Egypt, the cradle of civilization and the mother of the world, to think for the future that binds Egypt and Africa.
I'm so much excited to be here. I mean, I've been longing to be part of, that's where the origin of humankind comes from. That's where the heritage is. That's where connection in Africa. African Tourism Board, our task and our objective is to say, how do we start to appreciate what we have, and especially looking within the context of African initiatives where we are saying we have so much to offer in terms of heritage, we have so much to offer in terms of culture, and we have so much to offer and pollinate among us one another. And Egypt stands as one of the key destinations that cements that relationship, that binds Africa together. My coming here is an affirmation as African Tourism Board to say, it is time now to join the disconnect that have been separated us as brothers and sisters, as nations. Let's walk the journey together in developing our African initiatives within the tourism space. Egypt is part of Africa. We have so much to pollinate. Actually, as I was driving from my hotel coming here for the past 2 days, I am so amazed with the infrastructure development. That on its own, we need as the African continent, what is it that we can pollinate and learn from this progressive leadership that we see and experience in this beautiful, most amazing place of Egypt. I have read about Egypt in the Bible, and now the fact that I'm here physically to explore some of these beautiful sites, it is quite very exciting. And we are saying we want to appreciate the domestic and intercontinental appreciation. It is time for us, well, I wouldn't say, to disconnect, but it is time to start appreciating our domestic, our regional, and our continental tourism. We are also looking forward to collaboration, synergy, and working together. Hence, we have identified your institution to say, how can we create a strategic relationship so that we tell our story as Africans, we tell our story in Africa authentic as is, so that we don't rely on exaggerated stories that we hear from third parties. It is time for us to join hands, and we are so excited. We are so glad, especially we can't wait to sign our memorandum of understanding and also affording you to represent the African Tourism Board, which is the voice of the continent, to unify our forces behind progressive leadership. I am so excited. Thank you once again. We really appreciate and we look forward for a progressive relationship.
نحن لدينا مصير مشترك.
مصر تتطلع كعادتها دوما للتعبير عن شواغل الشعوب الإفريقية الشقيقة الرامية لتحقيق الاستقرار والتقدم ودفع عجلة التنمية قدما. إذا كنتم ترغبون في تغيير وجه القارة الأفريقية، فالاتحاد الأفريقي كقيادة تستطيع أن تعمل وتدرس بشكل مركزي لمشروع عملاق لبناء بنية أساسية على مستوى القارة. أنا أتصور أن الأمن والاستقرار استثمار.
I believe that the authenticity of the uniqueness and diversity of Africa in itself is a natural opportunity for anybody. I mean, what Africa offers in terms of potential, of tourism potential, cannot be replicated anywhere. I keep saying Africa is a cradle of civilization, the birthplace of humanity, but has managed to maintain quite a lot of that history here. I mean, you come to Egypt, you see the pyramids, it tells you about civilizations that are 1,000 years old. You go to Zimbabwe, you see the great rocks, you see the lakes, you see the diversity of people. You come to Ghana till today, you can still even see slave routes. You can see some of the natural opportunities are there. Africa also offers a broad range of tourist potential. From ecotourism to cultural tourism, because we are very diverse. You have thousands of different cultures on the African continent. Our food, our dressing, our music, our sports, all contribute to global diversity and enrichment. And so in Africa, I think there's a new refocus on tourism being the lowest hanging fruit for transformation and inclusive growth, because through tourism, you have real inclusive growth where everybody participates, communities participate, policymakers participate, professionals participate. Now, the real challenge is how we can mobilize investment into tourism to make sure that it becomes a very credible investment, opportunity for economic growth and transform the lives of people in Africa. Today, we are seeing a lot of African footballers go outside, and the popular name Mo Salah, outside the continent playing football and creating other economies in there. We are seeing a number of African players in the NBA. We are seeing some of them in the NHL. So sports in itself becomes a major attraction, tourism attraction, where Africans participate. We are seeing our fabrics, our cloth. I was interested today to hear, it was very interesting to hear that somebody's looking for fabrics. They talk of Egyptian cotton. You know, somebody's looking for very good prints in Ghana, they look for kente cloth, which is unique. So it's just not a question of, we don't have artificial offerings. We have man-made offerings as well in Africa. Now, how do we redirect investment to actually monetize these potential assets? But the continent itself, because of its youth bracket and its population size, currently about 1.4 billion people, is enough market. You know, and we should encourage ourselves to visit ourselves. Coming to Egypt, I'm so excited that I have the opportunity to see the pyramids, but also to see real historical relics. That Jesus was here, Mary was, Joseph were here, and the story of Moses all starts from here.
Explore Egypt. From Cairo to Alexandria. Sharm el-Sheikh to Hurghada. Try to discern the mystery of the Sphinx. Meditate on the symmetry of the pyramids. Explore incredible marine life in Marsa Alam. Safaris into the desert of South Sinai. Relax with a view of the Nile.
You know, you come to Ghana, you have forts and castles. Out of the 67 forts and castles that were built on the African continent during slavery, some 30 plus are in Ghana. You go to Nigeria, you see very interesting things. You go to Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Kenya, Rwanda, South Africa, Botswana, Mozambique. You see different quality offerings that you cannot find anywhere else in the world. They are not man-made, they are natural, but they are part of our history as well and part of our culture. And so it's very important to recognize them as part of the economy. And of course, we all recognize today that perhaps with the AI and many of the evolving transitions in humanity, tourism and leisure and hospitality is going to be one of the most important economies that there are. So right now in Africa, we have a unique opportunity that even internally, we can create a market. Of the 1.4 billion people, some 60% are under the age of 30. We can learn about ourselves. So that only not creates an opportunity for leisure, but for education. We can learn about ourselves, we can learn our history, we can learn our culture within ourselves, we can visit each other. Now, there are a few challenges, of course. The availability of capital, but not just availability of capital, but even structure. To travel within the African continent is not as easy. So we need infrastructure, we need to build the infrastructure, but also the policy, such that I can travel to Egypt without a visa, you can travel to Ghana without a visa, or South Africa, or any part of Africa without a visa. That will open the space for us to be able to mobilize internally and also create an economy that can finance itself. Because if it's easier for somebody from Europe or America to come to Egypt than it is for me in Africa, then we create ease for them. But do we create ease for ourselves? We will. Together we will. And so I believe that the real answer to your question is that we need to work together as African countries. We need to work together under the AFCFTA to create a market, but also to create an opportunity for us to be able to move goods, people, and services such that we can have the capital to invest in leisure and hospitality and the tourism industry.
Really, we're very excited to be here today. We have our African Tourism Board sideline event during the Inter-African Trade Fair here in Cairo at El Manara. So we're quite excited that this year, as you know, IATF has their event every 2 years. So the first event was in Cairo, the second in South Africa, and we're back again in Cairo, which is exciting. So we're very excited because we're putting tourism sector on the map in terms of when we look at the development, sustainable development of our continent, you cannot exclude the tourism sector, as it is one of the most important sectors for our continent. African Tourism Board, as you mentioned, we look at Africa as one destination, so each African country is as important as the other. So we do work very tirelessly to promote all of our beautiful countries, all of our destinations, not just the beautiful destinations, but the culture, everything that it has to offer. And we're excited to be here in Egypt. I'm very excited because I'm Egyptian, so actually it's an opportunity for us as Africans to also learn from each other, share best practices. We'll have some very important panels today. We're talking about sustainable tourism. We're talking about the role of civil aviation on promoting tourism. We're also talking about the important role of women and SMEs in promoting tourism and investment. So we're looking to attract investment into our beautiful continent. There's so much potential, and as you can see, they're showcasing, many of the countries present, very high level, are showcasing everything their country has to offer. we're very excited of our partnership with the Nile TV International, and we're excited, of course, to have you as our tourism ambassador for the African Tourism Board. I think really it's all about what you said, partnerships. It's all about partnerships. We work with private sector, we work with governments. We want to connect Africa better because I think if we really want to promote our continent, we have to start visiting our own African destinations so we can better know what we have to offer. This is why we have the top airlines, we have the ministers, we have everyone there, because we want to also talk about the public-private partnership, how we can work together, private and public partnership, to really showcase what our continent has. So what we're looking forward to in the next year, 2024, is more of that, more partnerships, exploring more destinations, sharing best practices, you know, for many countries, like, as you know, in Egypt, of course, that has very rich, developed tourism sector, how we can share with other less developed tourism sectors in other countries and learn from each other. So it's really establishing this partnership and really looking forward to the future.
Actually, today I'm extremely honored to be your guest and the Great Nile TV to be my host. In fact, we're here to join the rest of our African sisterly countries in terms of how to develop and promote our tourism, because here we have the resources, we have the opportunities. What we have been lacking all along was the promotional aspect. Not every country, but few of us, they are still lagging behind. Let me say most of us are still lagging behind. But that's why we are here. And we do expect from you, the TVs, promoters, TV presenters, and all the different medias. You should play your great role in terms of reflecting on the African strengths. In fact, actually, we do believe, and it's an absolute fact, that Egypt, they have started this field and explored this field long time back. And based on that, Egyptians, they have an accumulated experience in the tourism field, especially when it comes for the Nile tourism, it comes for the historical sites and heritage tourism, and many areas to mention. Egypt have gone very far. Despite other countries are trying, but I think Egyptians are the best in that field. Now, based on this fact, we want to collaborate with the Egypt and Egyptians tourism entities so that we benefit some of their vast experience, because what matters in most of our African countries is capacity. Capacity matters, managerial aspect matters, and those are the areas which we thought would join our hands with our sisterly country, Egypt, to benefit of. Then next to these issues of funding and partnership, here in Egypt we have very perfect investors, good investors, and who have well-versed understanding about tourism. Those are the relevant people whom we are planning to attract to South Sudan, as well as the tourists. For us, we thought ourselves, South Sudan and Egypt, we are one country. Then I think the Egyptian tourists should go to South Sudan at least to witness the great migration which we have there. As well as in South Sudan, we have 18 national parks, protected areas, of which each park has its own uniqueness, plus the big five elephants, animals, they are there. Those are the opportunities which we are asking our brothers and sisters from this great nation to visit South Sudan, to explore.
That was this special edition of Exclusive with Taghreed Hussein here on Nile TV International, where we knocked new doors, unleashing the potential of Africa in the field of tourism, binding Egypt and Africa, and the sky is always the limit.